or diagnosed me with PTSD, and just based on how I was brought up and like how I've dealt with that, with my upbringing. So, and I think that she was talking about how shame develops around a basically an unwillingness to be or inability to be vulnerable, or like finding vulnerability as weakness and that sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah, and that, as they were talking about that for a while, and that was like, wow, that's some pretty heavy shit.
That's interesting. I've been in conversations lately because I was doing a volunteer project a few weekends ago, and we were talking to some women about tough love versus nurturing, or just if you have unconditional love and you accept anything that your child or your partner does, and got into a conversation about which one is better. And it's hard to find a good conclusion. Like, as a person who has a lot of empathy, I want to say nurturing and unconditional love is better.
Sure.
But I don't know that it is, because it is a tough world.
Yeah.
And if you are a person that's just used to always being coddled, I don't know how you really survive. I got a little bit of criticism the other day at my work, and it wasn't even a dig. It was just like, this is some honest feedback. And it really hurt my feelings. And then I thought, what is wrong with me? Do I have a really thin skin? I used to think, coming from journalism and media, I had a thick skin, because I've had like editors be just brutal with my work and my writing. And I've had to face people and just try to suck back the tears, even though I really wanted to start crying. So the other day when this came up, I was like, what's wrong? Have I gone soft? Am I just like not used to people being straight up with me? And I kind of wonder if that comes from your upbringing and the way that you're raised.
Probably.
Yeah.
I know. So. I'm pretty sure that my belief that there is no such thing as unconditional love.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I believe there is, but I don't know. It's because I have it for my animals, except for the one I'm giving away.
All right. Well, I suppose, especially after what Susu did during the car ride, and we're still together. So. All right, so I'll give the quick version of my moving story.
I have a feeling it has to do with mess.
So the whole, and I'm not one to speak badly about other people publicly, and so I'm going to keep this as vague as possible. But so I had a lot of offers for like helping with moving.
Okay.
And I turned them down because I was under the impression that my ex was going to help me, and because she said as much, and she did. She helped me move two things, like
two items,
the two items that I couldn't lift by myself.
Okay.
And I moved everything else myself. I loaded everything into the U-Haul. I unloaded everything from the U-Haul. So. And I did it within I actually did it within 3 hours. I loaded it up into the truck, got the truck here, unloaded it, and got the truck back to the U-Haul rental. And so I was pretty much wiped, though. And by the time I got back to the old place, I realized that what I thought was going to be a single trip was 2 trips.
Oh.
And so then I was like, okay.
Are you just moving in your car, by the way?
No.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. I had a truck.
Oh, you were at
a
rental,
yeah.
Right. Missed that part.
So I went ahead and asked for the help to make it so it was just 1 trip, and did not get that help, so it was 2 trips. And so really I was really done by the time I went back to get Susu for the last trip. And she was also done, apparently.
Oh.
She definitely hates the car, does not like traveling at all.
Oh,
she refused to get into the crate.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you just have to grab them and shove them in. Tough love.
It didn't work. It didn't work. I should have had a slightly bigger crate probably, but I did not. And so she wasn't, her girth was such that she couldn't just be shoved in easily.
Yeah, she's a big kitty.
And big and beautiful. But so I was like, we've traveled, we've done a vet visit with just the two of us, and she's been loose in the car, and she was happier that way. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll just put you in the car and we'll go.
Uh-oh.
And this time it didn't work. This time she flipped out, and the first thing that she did was get up on top of the passenger seat and piss, and then shoot off into the back seat and get in the window. And then when I was stopped behind someone at the, to turn out onto 12th Street there, she decided that would be a good idea then to shoot underneath my feet.
Oh, driving?
Yeah, and I ended up rear-ending the person in front of me.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And she is the one who sat on the accelerator.
You are such a bad kitty.
I'm like, really? You're a black cat that's a little on the nose.
We still like you, but oh my God.
Yeah, I was
That's
yelling.
a deal breaker.
So
almost a deal breaker.
Luckily,
you have good insurance, I hope.
I do. Well, I have good insurance. I have accident
totaled?
forgiveness. It wasn't a bad accident. It was just minor fender damage. And
just not something you need right now.
Exactly. So I don't even know that I'm going to have any work done on my car because it was really just minor. And there would be a deductible for me.
Yeah.
I don't have a deductible for the liability.
Oh, really? Well, that's good.
Exactly. And
I better look at mine. It's scary me.
Yeah, no, it would.
I'm going to be driving a lot this summer.
That was the little bit of damage that the other people had was going to get covered. And so the whole reason that I started telling the story, because you were talking about feeling old. And so, we start having this conversation. Obviously, the couple, they're an older couple. They're specifically the husband is not very happy. Let's say he wasn't really yelling, but he was like, "What happened?" And I was trying to explain the situation. He's like, "You had a cat get loose in your car." I'm like, "Yes," and he's like, "What is going on?" And so I ended up. First of all, he didn't believe me that there was a cat loose in the car because he couldn't see her. She had actually gotten up under the dash.
Oh, no.
She got up under the dash.
So naughty.
Yeah. And then I was, I eventually got the car parked, and then we exchanged information, and, we exchanged stories. I was, he was saying, where, you live here? Where were you going? I was like, I'm actually moving. It's my last day here. And I was like, just broke up with.
Was this right outside your old place?
Pretty much, yeah. It was at exactly. So I'm like, my ex still lives here. I was going to the new place, and this was my last trip, was just to get the cat. And so then he was like, "Oh man, you're having a rough day." And then he was like, I'm like, "Yes, I am." But then he was like, "Yeah, and you know what? We were on the way to see my dad in hospice." I'm like, "Oh my God."
They're having a bad day too.
They're also having a bad day.
Oh.
But they were nice. I was a little bit of a mess at that point because I was already a little bit of a mess with the whole situation, and it was. So
it's like that scene. Have you ever seen that show Bloodlines?
No.
You come home, you take the tequila bottle, and you just start drinking right out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. Probably you don't want to self-medicate that way. That's what I would do.
Yeah. I'm not a tequila guy. I might do, I don't know, vodka or whiskey or something. But
I haven't had a day that bad for a while, though, knock on wood.
Yeah, this weekend was a little rough. And, but so the guy was like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 36. He's like, "Oh, you looked younger, but man, you're old." I'm like,
He
"Thanks."
just said that.
Yeah, he just said. He's like, "Man, you're old." I'm like, all right.
Well, can I ask you an important question?
Sure.
Do you still love Zuzu?
Of course I do.
Okay.
She's a cat. I'm still getting the smell out of my car, but she's my kitty. So.
I don't know how to fix that.
I've tried a couple of things. I'm going to end up just having to take the car in and get it thoroughly shampooed.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not terrible right now, but with the summer, I think it's just going to be terrible. So I've got to take it in and get it done. But anyway, we made it, and she was traumatized, and I was traumatized, and then I got here, and there was this bee situation out there.
Yeah, you got a ton of bees outside your new apartment.
It's like freaky because they were not there
when you looked at the place.
They were not there when I looked at the place. Yeah. They were not even there earlier in the day.
And they just showed up?
And they were just there. And then, like, this swarm got worse. Like, there was this huge... they were covering the wall at one point.
Did they come inside here? No?
A couple of them have come inside, but they've come inside and died.
Oh.
And so I put in a maintenance request and all that kind of thing. They're supposed to be out.
How many units are in this apartment complex?
I don't know.
Not many.
And I think, like, this one we're in right now is, like, I think it's, like, broken up into 3. Mm-hmm. And then there's I think there's a couple that are maybe a little bit larger than this. And I mean, even though this place is small, I actually really like it. I'm going to get some things to dampen the sound in here.
Yeah. I can hear someone's TV right now. It's almost like I'm watching it. Like it feels like I'm in the same room.
Yeah. It's a little distracting, but
I'm getting ready to do some moves this summer. I'm going to move a couple times this summer, and then I'm just going to be like moving and shaking and traveling a lot. Actually, this weekend, I'm going out of town for a show. I'm going to see Bikini Kill at the Palladium in LA.
I keep hearing about that on that Matt and Dory's Excellent Adventure podcast, because Dory has been talking about this Bikini Kill.
It's a big deal that they got together and they're touring again right now. So I'm flying to LA, getting a rental car, going to the show, hanging out with some friends in Hollywood.
Well, and which Beastie Boy is she married to? Is it Adam Rausch?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ad Rock. I think it's Ad Rock.
I think so. Yeah, that
sounds right.
There's a documentary that was about Kathleen Hanna that came out a few years ago, and it screened at Film Bar. She sort of dropped off the scene, and it was mysterious, and everybody wondered what happened to her. She did the Julie Ruin album, and then she put together this cool electronic band called La Tigra. They had some albums.
I remember that band. Yeah.
They were touring, and this was like 15 years ago, and then they just disappeared. And it's because she came down with or was infected by Lyme disease.
Oh.
But didn't know about it for years.
Yeah, I've heard that can happen.
So it became debilitating. So she was feeling tired all the time, and there's like videos of her online where she just looks sickly. She looks really awful. So anyway, the documentary kind of covers that. I guess she's working on it and getting her strength back. I don't know how you would do a full tour if you're not in good health, but
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm really excited because I've never seen them, and that's been a really iconic band for me since I was a teenager.
Yeah, like
maybe 13 or 14 years old. So, and Bikini Kill, when they were together, didn't even put out that much music. Mm-hmm. Only a few records. So I'm going to know every song. In fact, I tried to sing them at karaoke one time. Minimal success. But yeah, that'll be a good trip. And then the other thing I'm looking forward to a couple weeks after that is Form Fest at Arcosanti.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time.
I just wrote up a little preview for Java Magazine online. That's going to be really incredible. The whole thing is like this immersive festival, but the more I'm reading about it, the more it's not just the music, it's really an experience. There's kind of an element of like spirituality and good living and paying attention to your health and your mental.
Wasn't that a little bit what that whole Arcosani community is supposed to be about?
You get
outside
that
of the art
vibe. Yeah, I don't know that Paolo Soleri was ever trying to create a commune. Mm-hmm. He just had a vision for cities. That's really the impression reading about him and what he was planning.
Giant bells, right?
Well, that's what they ended. Yeah. So his vision, he and his wife, spacing on her name right now, but it's something like Lonnie, acquired that property at the end of the 50s because, and he was from Italy. He had this whole idea of building upwards instead of outwards, like the suburbs sprawl out, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a good model. So he thought, we'll build up and we will try to be sustainable, self-sustaining. Everything that we need will be on site. We'll have the school. Mm-hmm. We'll have restaurants. If you want to have your small businesses, we'll have like a floor for that.
Sure.
So it's kind of like condos, you know?
Yeah.